So, I'm Benny Goodman, the Neurotic Guitarist, here with my good friend David Ellefson. How are you, my friend?
I am well.
David was nice enough to fly down and actually play on some Lost Symphony. You know him from the Lucid, you know him from Megadeth, you know him from all the horror movies, the coffee, the books. Like, what are you doing, man? Like, what aren't you doing? Is that shorter
That's
of a
the better
list?
question.
What's going on with you now?
So, as always, I've always got a lot in the pipeline. My group, the Lucid,
Yes.
which is, you know, a horse of a different feather, quite
The
honestly.
vocalist from Sponge, right?
Sponge, which is
I
so
absolutely
cool.
love him.
You know, Vin is the funniest guy. This guy is true rock and roll. And just a wacky, like left field, like funny, and just a super awesome guy. Like the guy you want to be in a band with.
Now, I have to say this. So, obviously, you're not with Megadeth anymore, but as a Megadeth fan, I'm getting excited because I'm seeing you with Jeff Young.
Yep.
I'm seeing you with Chris Poland. So, like, now is this going to be like a new thing where we get to see, like, the Megadeth we've been wanting, but Dave doesn't do?
I've been listening to what the fans have been requesting. He and I have actually been working on a couple of new songs. Which,
Really?
Well, and here's where it started.
New songs with Jeff Young.
Yeah.
You heard it here,
yes,
dude.
When we started filming the Nick Menza documentary, which was back in January, we all came to LA, filmed, and we were sitting at the Rainbow one night having dinner, and Nick and Jeff goes, remember those couple of riffs that I had that were from the So Far So Good So What tour that were going to be hoped for to be what would become Rust in Peace? And then he was out of the group by then. And he hummed at me, I go, dude, I totally remember those riffs. I totally remember them. And they're kind of complex, kind of, you know, music nerdish, right? But like cool and heavy. And oh my God, we got to get in the freaking room and work on these. So Mike Heller, who's a great producer as well as a drummer, we have put some tracks down. We've written the songs. Now we just have to get them recorded.
So you and Jeff Young have a record together?
Yes, we do.
So let me ask you this, because it seems as if he was unceremoniously fired from Megadeth, but as a Megadeth fan, I loved Jeff Young.
Yeah.
I loved Jeff Young. What the fuck happened? Are we allowed to talk about this now?
Yeah. Definitely a drug haze, right? And you know,
those never happened in your band.
Yeah. No, it was. No, I was participating in it. I raised my hand, and you know I was part of that. You know, that was just a weird moment where we come home, I go to rehab, another member of the band goes to rehab. And then we kind of went through a bunch of rehabs, and everything got pretty dark and weird. And for whatever reason, Dave and Jeff didn't get along. That ended. We held on to Chuck for a bit. You know, I had been introduced to Dimebag, went by Diamond Darrell at the time, in Dallas. So we called him. I told Dave, I said, you know, we should call him because he's a guy. I got on stage, I jammed with Pantera. This was on the Power Metal record, which was before Cowboys from Hell.
Yep.
And those guys drank a lot and fucking sounded great. I was like, I don't know how they can drink this much and sound this good, but they are a fucking powerhouse band. So I jammed Peace Sells with them, got to know him. So I had Dave call him, and he said, he goes, man, I'd love to, Dad, I'd love to, but you know, along with me comes my brother.
I heard that, right? Vinny
and we had Chuck in the band, and so that didn't work. So imagine that if half of Pantera joined half of Megadeth.
Pantera, I mean...
But it wouldn't have been good because then we'd have had no Pantera. And Pantera were great. And the last thing we wanted to do was break the band.
You can't be second fiddle in that sense. I couldn't see Dime being second fiddle to Dave, regardless.
Right.
Even though, like, because even Marty, he still played ball.
Yeah.
Dimebag didn't play ball with anybody.
Dime was a rising guitar star of his own in the magazines and stuff, and so that was fine that didn't happen. We reached out to Jeff Waters of Annihilator, and his band was blown up, and he was focused on that. It's funny, me and Dave and Slash were hanging out a lot. Slash had just come off the Appetite for Destruction tour, and so especially me and Slash, we'd play guitar all the time. In fact, David always looked at us and go, you guys play the same fucking riff all the time. But we would jam, and it was great playing with Slash. And we even talked about it, you know, it was like one of those moments like, hey, should we ask Slash if he should join Megadeth, you know? And we kind of maybe sort of floated it up the flagpole.
So we have Kerry King, we have Slash, we have Dimebag, like
But like we knew with Slash, it's like he's our friend, and it's kind of like, it'd be kind of fun, but it probably wouldn't work. Like we're better off being friends, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, it is funny how we all grew up together, and just like anybody watching this, if you grow up in Dubuque, Iowa, or you know, we're at Fort Worth, Texas, wherever you grew up, you know, you grow up around your buddies, and they're your friends. And some guys are gigging, some guys move up, some guys, you know, take lateral moves and do other things, and that's what it was like. You know, again, Kerry King when he played with Megadeth. Kerry loved the speed and just ferociousness of Exodus, and he saw that, and of course playing with us up in the Bay Area, nobody had makeup on, nobody had spiked hair, nobody had Motley Crue belts and stuff like that. So he went home, came back here to LA, and just like retooled Slayer entirely after that. So so by him, look, Dave being in Metallica created Megadeth, Kerry playing with Megadeth helped retool Slayer, and Slash stayed in Guns N' Roses, and
Dimebag stuck with his brother.
Pantera, and it all worked out.
And it all worked out. How about this Chris Poland thing? Because I love Chris too. This feels like Christmas.
Look, the phone is ringing off the hook for all of us to do stuff together. Jeff and I, again, we jumped on stage at the Whiskey. They did this Big Four tribute.
Oh, I watched all of it.
Jeff called me. He said, dude, you want to come over and jam a couple tunes? I said, yeah, that looks like fun. So I came over and we jumped up, did our thing. I said, I just want to play old stuff that has not been played,
I was going to say, I saw a bunch of tunes and I'm like, they don't play that stuff
So for
anymore.
me, that's what I want to do, because, it's those to me, they're fun. I love those songs. It's fun to see the fans' reaction from them.
Megadeth is literally one of the first bands that ever mattered to me. And I always think of you in particular with Megadeth. Because when I went and saw you guys, you're the founding guy with Dave Mustaine. Now, there was a lawsuit a while ago, you got fucked out of some royalties. You've been getting constantly screwed. But you wrote these songs. This is you. And I know that there's a whole group of fans that are like, well, whatever Dave Mustaine wants to do, we'll follow him. Mm-hmm. Do you find that there's a lot of people like me who want to see you with Jeff Young, who want to see you with Chris Poland playing your songs with the band that you started, regardless of that guy?
Probably now more than ever.
Because I want to tell you, I've been wanting that for years.
Cool.
But is there animosities or legalities that we have to be worried about for this to happen?
No, there isn't, because as long as you don't use someone's logo or their trademark, you're fine.
Well, it's your songs. So the question is
so I get paid too.
Is there going to be an iteration of what I grew up loving, whether it's with a certain Dave or not, doing the songs that I love? Are we going to see this more often? Can I have this in my heart? Can I get excited?
Let's just say the phone is ringing for that.
Well,
the telephone is ringing.
Well, isn't that exciting when the phone stops ringing?
Yeah.
You have to be worried.
Well, again, I think, look, we see it more and more where live music is kind of the last vestige of the music industry. The record industry is banking everything on TikTok, 16-second videos now, right? And again, young people drive new music. They just do. When you and I were young, that's when we bought Aerosmith and Boston and Megadeth or whatever we bought, right?
Yep.
So that's what it is. So, but people want to go out, especially post-COVID. They want to go out. They want to see artists, and it's usually kind of classic rock, oldies, whatever it is, that they want to go see, and they still want to hear the songs. I saw this when I went back to Megadeth in 2010, and we were playing the 20th anniversary of Rust in Peace. I'll never forget. There was a show. I think it was in San Antonio, Texas, or something. The kids along the rail were young, they probably bought their Megadeth shirts at Hot Topic, right?
Yeah.
That consumer, right? And they were there looking at us like, oh my God, there's the mighty Megadeth I've heard so much about. My dad talked about it, right? There they were. Then back by the kind of the soundboard was, the next generation. Up in the seats was another generation, and then, that was the 20th, and so we're 30 years into the band. So now there's 4 decades, right? And so the people, the people that were in the pit, doing all that back in, the 80s, now they're sitting up in the nosebleed, probably with their kids down in the floor getting their ass kicked in the mosh pit, because it's a family affair, right? Metal is this one genre that just kind of keeps going, and it keeps getting handed down.
Well, it's definitely the most, I feel like, resilient genre. That said,
yes,
Mr. Ellefson.
Awesome, brother.
Thank you so much. Why don't you smash that subscribe button already?